Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Showalter, and I'm going to go over how to access your data for your morbidity and mortality weekly report for this data analysis you're going to do. So you're going to be able to open up this document on Blackboard, and you're going to click first on this link that'll take you to the CDC database. I've already got it open, so I'm not going to click on it, but I am going to open it up, and it's going to open up to this page. So this is a database containing all of the morbidity and mortality weekly for several years. I'm not sure how far back this one goes. I do know it goes as far back as 2022, but this is a brand new database that they just introduced back in January. So we're kind of learning how to use it. It is a lot easier than previously it has been. So when we're looking at your assignment, you're looking at getting the weekly totals for a certain disease for the US as a whole, as well as Arkansas as its own state. And so you're going to be gathering data points, one for each week, through the 2 years of 2023 and 2024. And so I'm going to show you how to access this data, and then we've got another video that'll go over actually calculating all this in Excel. So this data, like I said, right now, this is showing you everything for all states, for multiple years, for multiple diseases. But we want to filter this. We want this to be just for your specific disease. And we're going to start with selecting a column to filter. The very first one we're going to filter is your reporting area. So your reporting area, you've got two options. You're going to do this more than once. So I'm going to start with US residents. And I'm going to click that and leave that as one of my options. I'm going to add another filter because I don't want to just look at all the diseases for all years for all US residents. I want to specifically look at what years we're looking at. So we're looking at 2023 and 2024 in this case. So I'm going to start with 2023. And finally, one last filter that we're going to add. Oh, we don't want it to be an or. Or is bad. We want and, because we want all of these filters to apply. We're going to select label. They didn't name it very well. But label refers to your disease of interest. So you'll have signed up for a disease on a list that's later in the document. I'm going to use, for my example, this arboviral West Nile virus because it's not an option for anybody. So I'm not showing anybody's data for this. Mostly because there's just not a whole lot of it. Now, the big thing to remember is once you actually select all these filters, you have to apply them. If you don't apply them, it doesn't change anything. You can use this little dark gray spot here to make your filter area bigger or smaller. And you'll see up here in the table, I've now selected US residents, 2023, MMWR week, so week 1, arboviral diseases, West Nile virus. The data I'm interested in is in the current week. So, for example, week 4, there is 1 case of West Nile for all of the US residents. For week 6, there's another case. And so you can kind of see all these cases throughout the year. And so this goes all the way to week 52. Now, it used to be you'd have to sit down and type all these numbers in yourself. Now, because they updated this database, it's actually really easy. You go up to the right corner up here and click Export. You shouldn't have to change anything. You want it to download as a CSV. Don't click this blue download file button up here at the top. Click the one down here at the bottom right. I'm going to click download. That downloaded to my computer. I can open it in Excel. And there's all the data that we just looked through. So we've got US residents, 2023, which week it is, our disease of interest, which, by the way, if you want to extend these columns to see what the entire thing that's in the column, you can double click on the end there. And so I'm going to double click on current week. These columns are what we're interested in. So now you've gathered the data for US residents for 2023. You're going to do this 3 more times. You're going to look at 2023, but you're going to look at it for Arkansas. So I'm going to apply that. And instead of US residents in the reporting area, it should say Arkansas. And I can export this data. And I want to do 2024 for both US residents and Arkansas. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. So this is now 2024, and once again, I can export that data. And that's how you're going to gather all your data. You can then compile all this data into a single Excel file. I will tell you, these are CSV files. CSV files, when you go to save your Excel file, you want to change it from a CSV to an Excel workbook. And make sure you save it somewhere you can find it, like your desktop. If you don't save it as an Excel workbook, any changes, any graphs you make aren't going to save. You have to be working in an Excel workbook. But I can copy and paste this data over so that all of these numbers are all in the same file. And like I said, you're then going to be doing some calculations on this data. And there's a second video already posted with this information. And so you can go to the working with data in Excel. And this has what you're going to do with it, the rubric, and of course, your disease list. The other thing I highly, highly recommend is that you write down your disease. Oh, important. Make sure you include your disease exactly how it is in that list, word for word. Because there are some that are slightly different, and I tried to gather disease data where they all had numbers so that you would have something to actually work with. Not every reportable disease is very common in the US. So make sure that you type those in exactly. With that, I think that's everything for accessing your data. Should be pretty easy for you to go through and select all this data. Have a good day.